A bomb cyclone, inland hurricane, or just a good old-fashioned blizzard hit Colorado on Wednesday, shut down DIA for only the fourth time in its history, and made national headlines. Governor Polis issued a state of emergency and called for the Colorado's National Guard help and to get the Guard's help after the blizzard left more than 1,000 drivers stranded throughout the Front Range. Meanwhile, the Colorado State Senate stayed in session throughout the day, and they were the only ones to do so, with the governor's office and the state house deciding to take a snow day. Patty Calhoun, you saw a lot of different things this day. The reaction to the storm from city officials, the Senate staying in session. Take your pick at what made your bomb cyclone headline.
Well, the fact that we even had anything called the bomb cyclone, you know, blizzards in general, blizzard of 2013, blizzard of 2006, really boring names. So when you have a name like the bomb cyclone, you think it's going to be like Sharknado, the movie. It's just not going to live up to it. In this case, it really did. If you know, I was downtown for most of the time, and frankly, it wasn't tough going back and forth on normal business hours. It was just in the middle of the day that was horrible. But on the highways and in eastern Colorado and anywhere the wind was blowing, it absolutely lived up to its cyclone thing. I'm not sure bomb also works. It was amazing to see how people pulled together, the people stuck for 24 hours on I-25 or on I-70, the amazing Good Samaritan stories of people helping and shoveling people out, and the truly tragic loss of State Trooper Daniel Groves. We've got the flags at half staff who had stopped to help a stranded motorist. And so it was kind of Colorado in a bomb cyclone microcosm, good, bad, and ugly.
Joey, what do you think about the Senate staying in session? Because Senate President Leroy Garcia came under some pretty decent criticism for staying open for business. And if people wanted to come and testify, it was more difficult to do so. If people emailed what they wanted to have on a comment on a bill that weren't necessarily read to the committee, it seemed like an odd political decision, and actually being a political decision. Shed some light on it for us.
Well, I'm going to say part of my commentary for Disgrace of the Week. That's a preview. But you know, Colorado weather is a lot like Colorado politics. It changes really fast. And you know, right now, Republicans are still in Wednesday. But next week was supposed to be close to 60, so they can look forward to that. You know, this was something that really tested the soul of the state on that day, but we moved on from it. And I think we can say the same thing about our politics. I'm going to save the rest of my commentary for the disgraceful actions of Republicans and Democrats in the legislature.
Well, we sure reserve plenty of time for you in Disgrace of the Week there, Joey. Eric, it's not often that a storm lives up to the hype, and frankly, weather forecasters have had a tough 2019. It's going to snow a bunch, and it's just a dusting. It's going to be a dusting, and we got 8 inches. This one, hype was big, storm was big. What about the political fallout, whether the Senate in session, or even how Denver handled snow removal, which only, 40 years ago changed a mayoral campaign?
Certainly did. We can flash back to 1983. First of all, in terms of weather forecasters, I've always really appreciated weather forecasters because they're the only people out there who make political forecasters, such as some of us around the table, look somewhat even accurate by comparison. You know, I can always say, well, I got it closer than the weather guy did. This storm certainly did live up to its name. The name is an incredible name. I love Bomb Cyclone as a name. I've decided I'm renaming my fantasy football team Bomb Cyclone. It's too good to pass up. It was stunning how quick, you know, when it came in, how quick and how forceful it came in. I went out that evening after the snow had largely tapered off just to finish some shoveling, and we live more central Denver, so we weren't exposed to some of the real intensity out in the suburbs and certainly out on the eastern plains. But it was amazing when I shoveled off my car. On one side of the car, there were 12 to 15 inches of snow hard packed on that side of the car, and I go to scrape up the other side of the car and there's nothing on it because it was a wind event as much as it was a snow event. In terms of political fallout, I really don't think a lot. Jared Polis' first big storm, yes, he called out the National Guard, probably the right call given everyone stranded. And Hancock did decently well, passably well. I don't think it's something that can be used as a cudgel against him, a la Bill McNichols, a la 1983.
Megan, what do you think? Overall, we saw various headlines, whether it was DIA, National Guard, closed highways, how the city handled removal, the state Senate. Take your pick. What stood out to you?
My favorite meme going around on Facebook was of a very well plowed street, and it said, "I love when blizzards come in mayoral election years," because it's so true that that nothing makes you think about what city government does for you as a big storm. And when you're pulling out of your driveway to get to work, if it's cleared, you're thinking things are running pretty well. So it was my favorite meme. But in terms of the Senate staying open, you know, Leroy Garcia is in a tough spot because they have a huge agenda to accomplish in very little time. But at the same time, it's really hard to be sympathetic because they have done that to themselves. They had all of the time in the world to introduce these huge, complicated bills, and they waited and introduced them as late bills. And I know that they want to get them accomplished and done, but it's hard to have sympathy because they could have done it earlier.